That was good, Lee.
Yeah, let's take a look. Hey, lots of attendees showing up. Boy, hello everybody.
Giving you all a minute to get settled. Make sure everything is working. You can hear us okay. This meeting will be recorded and emailed out for the replay. We want to make sure that it's accessible to you to watch at a later time if this is not the greatest time for you. As you're getting settled, why don't you go ahead and put in the chat what feature you love most about Boom. We are very excited to share all the things that we have for you tonight. But as we're getting settled and the people are coming in and trickling, just wanted to get the chat going. Make sure if you are going to ask a question, your questions go into the Q&A feature, not the chat feature. That can get kind of trampled with things. So we want to make sure that people are going to have their questions answered. So make sure to use the Q&A feature. So again, as you're getting settled, if you have a favorite feature that you love about Boom, go ahead and put that in the chat and we'll get started in maybe about another minute or two. Love it. We love easy access for students, of course. We love that and the data that comes with it. We love the magic flow. Yes, special education teachers love the data for sure. Self-correcting cards. Yes, that immediate feedback is so important for our students. Huge fan of the interactivities. Yes, I am even learning more new creative ways to make Boom cards, whether it's a hidden picture game or an escape room. There's lots of really cool things that you can do interactively for your students. Super fun. Love that immediate feedback. Yeah, a lot of really great things. That's ultimately how I fell in love with Boom cards as well, is all of the interactivity and the data collection that I got as a teacher. So that's super exciting. Love that. All right, well, we will go ahead and get started. Of course, if you are coming in, that is totally fine. This is being recorded so that if you need to watch it another time, you totally can. Please make sure to use the Q&A feature if you have a question to make sure that it is answered for you. And if you just want to chat and just say, hey, you are welcome to use the chat. But again, all questions go in the Q&A. All right, so here is an agenda that we have for tonight. We're going to do some brief introductions. I'll introduce who I am if you are not familiar with who I am. And then I will introduce the team that is also here supporting Boom tonight. We are going to go over the Boom survey. So that was something that I sent out earlier this month to kind of get more information about what you're looking for and how we can make improvements to the website. I'm going to share some of those results coming from that and kind of your top 5 things that you want to see changed. And then we'll talk about some next steps. I will share some Boom updates that have been happening in 2025 that you might have missed. Some really cool things have come to the platform that we're really excited about. And then, of course, we will leave it as a Q&A at the end for any questions that are in the Q&A. So, hi, I'm Heather. If you have not met me yet, I am the newest member of the Boom team. I am your publisher manager. So I am here to support you in any way that I can. Reach out to me. There is my email. You are welcome to write it down, take a screenshot, whatever you need right now. Special education teacher by nature for middle school and high school. Then transitioned to an assessment and curriculum coordinator for almost 3 years. And I'm also a Boom publisher, just like you are. So really excited to be a part of the team and to support you guys along the way. The team that is here tonight is just going to answer any things in the chat or in the Q&A that maybe I can't get to live, or maybe some questions that you have that can be just quickly answered. So they are there as well. All right, the Boom survey that kind of went out. If you did not get a chance to fill out the Boom survey, we want you to be able to still do that. We had about 110 people fill out that survey, but I'm always looking for more feedback and more information just to continue to bring back to the Boom team. So if you would like to fill out that survey, somebody is going to drop that link in the chat right now, just so that you can be able to access that and share what you would like to see for the platform. But if you did get to fill it out, here's kind of the results from that. So again, 110 people filled out the survey. It is open-ended. So again, it is anything that you wanted to mention in there. The new seller dashboard was a big one. That was something that kept coming up, whether it was, I want more live data, I want more information about my store, I want more information about my decks. Something regarding a dashboard was definitely mentioned a lot by 45 people. The redemption process also was something that kept coming up. And I think that's because we hit a lot of snafus at the beginning of that. And so now we're trying to weed out all of those things. So that kept getting brought up as well. People want easier accessibility features. I'm going to jump over to the side here. The accessibility features, I think, are overwhelming for people and they aren't sure where to start. And if you're feeling that way too, I've been meeting with teachers, with therapists, with publishers to go through those accessibility features. So again, please reach out via email. I am happy to meet with any of you one-on-one and talk through how to make those accessibility features in your Boom Card decks. And there will also be more webinars coming up in the upcoming weeks, late April and early May, so that you know exactly what to do when you want to add accessibility to your decks. The throw a sale feature or having a coupon code also got brought up a bunch. So I felt that was important that we highlighted that was something that people have been asking for. And then this final one, I kind of lumped together. There was a couple different things that people were saying that they want to discontinue the stacking of the bundles. So when you see a bundle in the library or in the store, people weren't really understanding that it's a bundle because there's like gray pictures behind it. So that stacking of it, or allowing to choose which deck is stacked on top, which that's an image that you can upload yourself. Or the ability to say like this product is also in a bundle or this boom deck is also in a bundle to kind of upsell that bundle. So again, that was brought up a bunch as well. Some other recommendations that people were looking for, again, improve search to promote your products that actually relate to the product that you're looking at. Some exclusive deck links for email lists or email subscribers. Again, just to keep more people coming to the Boom platform. We want that, of course. Being able to have a note to followers or let them know when a new deck is published was really important as well, because again, that communication with your publisher or with your users is super important. We want to make sure you are connecting with those people so that they can keep coming back for more. Search bar in the bundle studio. I will talk to that in a minute. Incentives for leaving reviews. Again, the leaving reviews, we are seeing that students are allowed to leave reviews, which should not be happening. But that's something that we want to make sure that you can actually get teachers, therapists, any type of user being able to leave you a review. Copying and pasting one card to another from one deck to another was also something was brought up that was really important for lots of people. So that's really kind of exciting to see because I think that could be really helpful as well. And then an infinite clone for drag and drop was also brought up a good amount as well. So things that are already in the works, things that we are already doing on our end to help rectify some of the things that you guys were bringing up. So some of you had mentioned the featured products or sellers getting changed out more often, and those people not being highlighted for everything, because you were seeing maybe somebody highlighted as a seller and a bundle was highlighted in the same week. So being able to change that out more often is something we are definitely working on. Better communication with the publishers. Again, I am happy to meet with anybody. I am your person, so I want to make sure that you guys have somebody to go to, have somebody to talk to. I am going to open up some office hours. If you want to meet with me, please send me an email, and I'm happy to meet with any of you. Updated filters on the library and studio with decks is something that we've been working on as well. We want to make sure that we are providing those filters that are the best fits for your decks. Standards tagging, you may or may not have known, we have rolled out the Common Core standards tagging feature, and that is more to come as well as we continue to grow on the platform. So we do want to make sure that you know that it's available, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit too. Being able to opt in or opt out of accessibility was something that people were bringing up as well. And so we really want to make sure that you feel confident if you are going to opt out of accessibility or being opted into accessibility. And again, more about accessibility will be coming up soon in the near future. Improve customer service. I can say our customer service team is really hardworking. They are doing so much behind the scenes and getting through as many tickets as they can daily. So that is something that I want to just shout out to our team that we are really working hard. And if for some reason you have not heard back from customer service and it's been a couple days, please reach out. Reach out back to help, reach out to me. We want to make sure that your answers get solved. Um,
Heather, I'm going to just jump in here. We have
yeah,
a raised hand
go ahead.
from Claudia Cruz Fuller. Claudia, you're on.
Yes,
Did you have a question, Claudia?
You had a question? You had your hand raised?
I don't. By accident, I think I raised my hand.
No problem.
Nope.
Thank you.
Yep. Lee, did you say there was somebody else as well?
There's a question in the Q&A about providing some clarity on how premium publishers' bonuses are calculated. I'm not sure if that's something you might get to later.
We'll tackle that during Q&A at the end.
Yep. So we're going to pause on that. We will talk about more of the premier publishers towards the end. I did see a comment in the chat as well that our customer service is really amazing. So that's really exciting that you guys are seeing that as well. And then this last one, again, I want to make sure I really point at specific videos explaining and demonstrating how to include each accessibility feature index. That is definitely something I know people like those shorter videos. It's more bite-sized pieces of information that they can take in. And that is something that we are definitely working on to make sure that you guys have those things. Again, those trainings will be coming out later, full webinars, but I'm trying to see if I can make those a little bit of shorter clips as well, so you guys can really truly see what it's like to add that accessibility feature to a deck. So those are coming as well. All right, so next steps. Now that I've kind of talked about all the things that were kind of brought up and the things that we're already trying to do, our priorities here are just kind of our top three. Those three should not be any surprise. Those are kind of the things that you've already mentioned. An updated seller dashboard, making that redemption process easier, and then easier accessibility features as well. Again, just to make it more fluid for all of you, to have more information and make the process just even smoother. All right, which brings me to my 2025 updates, the things that you may have missed over the last couple months because you've been busy in schools, you've been busy working, teaching, doing all the things. So we want to make sure that you know these things have come to the platform and that we're really excited about these changes as well. So the quick win that we have, Elise Scott in our Facebook group did say, hey, I would love a search bar in the bundles tab. I know lots of you even in the survey had mentioned it. That was something I actually wanted as well. So we now do have a search feature in the bundles tab or that bundles section in your studio. So that is very exciting. You can finally now search for a bundle. Some of the other newest features that you may have missed is having your reports in presentation mode. So when you are in presentation mode, it was really difficult in the past to save a report. Now you can do that. It'll give an immediate save report. You can select which class or classes or students that you were working with, and then you can just save that session as well. So that's really exciting. I did talk about the Common Core ELA and math standards tagging. We are working on adding more. So I know there's lots of questions about, is there going to be more standards coming through? They are coming. Give us some time. Let us work out the kinks with the Common Core. You can tag up to 5 standards right now. And we're working just again to continue to make that even better as we're seeing, but we're really excited for that. Sorry, Alyssa. Unclear redemptions, previously cleared and reversed the refund. So this was something that it was hard when it first rolled out. You can unclear your redemption now. So maybe you got more information from that user and originally you denied it and said, nope, they can't. We can now unclear that and go back and reverse that refund. So that's really kind of exciting because again, more information, we can just continue to go back and undo it. All right, so I do want to give a shout out for our Common Core people who have started tagging. We have 145 authors already tagging those Common Core standards. So that's really exciting that we're seeing you guys using that and finding it easy, hopefully, to go through and tag all of your decks with the standards that align to that. So that's really, really exciting. We are super excited about that. Some other announcements and things that we have. If you are on Facebook, we would love for you to join the group. We think this is again a great place to go to. It's a place to ask questions, to remain action-oriented and positive, to have a culture that is willing to answer questions and ask questions and share those ideas. So again, that is your place to go. If you do have a concern or an issue, we are asking you to use the help desk and email help@boomlearning.com because sometimes those Facebook groups get flooded and those things go missing or just kind of pushed down. So we want to make sure that if you do have an issue or concern, please, please, please reach out to our help desk. Something else we are working on is we are going to do spotlights. So you'll start seeing on social media that we are starting to feature more publishers and more decks and more great things that you guys are doing. We do love if you can give us a short video of using boom cards in your classroom or how they are looking. We would love that. So there is a quick form that we would love for you to fill out. Again, somebody will be dropping that in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, it should be in the email for you. We just want to make sure that we are featuring different people. We want to make sure that we are getting high quality things in there as well. So again, it's a very short survey to fill out for Tori and our marketing team. That brings me to featured people. So that is on the platform, on that main page that you see. There is a very short survey now. It is under 8 questions, depending on where you go, if you're picking to be a featured seller, a featured bundle, or a featured deck. And again, those are getting changed out monthly right now. We will want to make sure that we are updating that as much as possible. Again, just to continue to highlight new people, new decks. That is something we are definitely working on. But we are looking to make sure that there are no old logos in your store. If you are using the trademark in Boom Cards, that it's in the correct location next to Boom and not Boom Cards with the trademark at the end. The credits and acknowledgments are correct as well, that you are putting the actual credits for the people's clip art, fonts, any images that you are using, that those are accurate. We do want to look for also a complete bio that has your credentials and years of experience in it, that shows that you are qualified to be making decks in this way. And also rich descriptions and titles. We want to make sure that there's enough detail in those descriptions and titles that people know exactly what that deck is. And we are just overall looking for a quality resource to be featured. So again, if you're looking for that, you can also, there's also a link for that, and check your email if you got the replay. So upcoming trainings, this is great to take a screenshot of if you are available to do that right now. Otherwise, more information will be coming out about these trainings, but we are hosting webinars on April 22nd, May 6th, and May 20th, the same time for about probably 20 minutes or so. We'll do a training and then leave time for a Q&A. We are going to save it for a full hour just in case there are lots of questions about it, which we do expect. But again, we will walk through all the things of how to add each 3 accessibility feature to the platform. So we will do that very soon. Which leads me to questions. We sped through that. I love it. Any great questions?
We can
Al,
tackle
do
each one at a
you want to
time.
start from the top
Yeah.
and start tackling yours?
So Heather, can Boom provide some clarity on how premium publishers' bonuses are calculated?
Sure. John, you want to step in for that?
Yeah, sure. I know this is a really gray area for everyone. There's an algorithm that we use. So if you're part of Passport, your decks are counted by presentation mode, by how often they're used, and by either the school or the school district or the building that they're used in. For example, and I'll just make something up. Um, I live in Wisconsin. Let's say the Milwaukee Public Schools, you're part of Passport, you're in that district. Every time a student interacts with the presentation mode or a teacher demonstrates your deck in a presentation mode, you get and within the company, we're calling it a tic tac. A tic tac goes into a jar and that goes into your pool for how the bonus is calculated. That goes across the country. Now, the biggest issue I've seen is Passport is rolling out not as fast as we thought it would. So we have large districts that are implementing it, but if they just bought 500 licenses in January, we're still working with them on the implementation. So people haven't seen the royalties that they probably were expecting. And the other issue we have is we are doing a true up, I believe, in the next few months, where we are looking at all of the royalty pool and the distribution of the royalty pool based upon that algorithm. It's extremely complex. I'm hoping that in the upcoming year when we look at it, we might look at more of a simplified royalty pool, but the one we have right now is what we're sticking with through this contract period.
Okay. Anna is asking about the ability to distribute the all images horizontal and vertical with ONW click. I'm not sure if that's a mistype or.
This is part of the studio to a degree. I could say that if you hold the shift key down and click on multiple widgets on the card that you're positioning somewhere, I forget what the property is, but it's on the properties menu on the right side. I believe it's a line. And you might have to use undo a couple times to this, is it aligning horizontally or vertically? Because sometimes the images will appear to collapse where you don't want them. But we do have a kind of a auto align in Boom right now. So I guess that's an answer. But we could show it in a later webinar, probably the Z order one, because it's kind of pertinent to Z order if images end up hovering over one another in different ways, and alignment can cause that to happen.
Make sure if you do have a question that is in the Q&A section. I'm seeing a lot of questions come up in the chat that we might miss, so just please move those over.
I can make sure we return to some of those. By the way, I did notice earlier in the presentation, the chat, somebody did ask if it's too late to respond to the survey. They don't remember receiving it. So we'll make sure that we add that link in the chat before the
Yes,
end.
please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we use presentation mode for our self-published decks? Trish is saying I've not been able to.
I see Kyle shaking his head. Go ahead, Kyle.
Well, nodding. Yes, you can. If you're making a boom card deck, there's a way to private it. If you click its action button when you're looking at all your decks, there's an action private which will place your deck into your own library. And then from your library, you can not only do presentation mode, but you can assign it. You can do prep mode. It's almost like you bought it from yourself when you private publish something you make. So you just have to, and you can keep editing it after you private publish, and it will just update. So you wouldn't have to remove it and then republish and do anything like that.
Thank you, Kyle. Somebody is asking, is there a way to search by standard? And I know that feature is coming by the summer. Right now, you have the capability to add standards to your decks, but by the summer, we will have the ability to search. John, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know. Right now, you can start adding standards, the Common Core standards, to your decks for the crosswalk states. And by the crosswalk states, I mean the non-Common Core states or the states that are slowly moving away from Common Core. You know, Texas, Virginia, Florida, Georgia, Minnesota, Indiana, Louisiana. They're saying by 2027, 2028, about half the states will have abandoned Common Core. It may be faster given what's going on geopolitically. Whatever that being, once they're tagged via Common Core, we will have a crosswalk on the back end that will then tag them. So if I'm in Texas, I see the Teaks, or if Kyle's in Virginia, he sees the SOLs. So as long as they're tagged by the Common Core, we will then tie that Common Core to, there might have to be some fudging, but to the closest standard in that state where it matches up and aligns back to it. So you won't have to tag for Common Core, then go back and tag for Teaks and go back and tag for the best standards in Florida. There'll just be a crosswalk behind the scenes that will do that for our customers.
Great. While we're on the subject of standards, Dana is asking regarding Common Core standards for specialists, we often target a standard, but in many grade levels, is this going to be an option rather than having to select grade levels? I believe that is the case, right, John?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Now, legally, you have to be within, I believe it's a 3 grade level swing to have that student exposed to that standard. So I couldn't be working with an 11th grader showing them 1st grade standards. That wouldn't be legal. But I could be working with an 11th grade student showing them a 9th grade standard. That would be legal.
Great. Okay, Shannon is asking, it would be really great to have a button on the front end of each deck once we add standards, just like accessibility, so that I know when I've added standards. With 800 decks, it would be really helpful to just be able to check that little button and it would show quickly that I've added standards. That's a lot of decks, Shannon.
I'm not sure. Maybe Kyle or Genevieve, you guys can jump in. I believe once a deck is tagged with the standards, there will be a little standards icon next to that deck saying that at least a standard was tagged to it. Obviously, we don't know if you wanted to tag 1 or 5, but I believe there's going to be, and Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, something there.
Um, I
I'm
I
not
can't
100% sure.
Yeah, I can't promise that there will be anything there at all. However, if they would just copy paste what is currently making it clear that accessibility is passing the test, so to speak, then I'm sure there will be indicators for publishers that you're also standard discoverable, that the keywords there, that indexing is happening with Google's search algorithm and whatnot. I think right now you could probably add the standards as acronyms into keywords of the deck. You don't want to be too repetitious, and you might not want to include them in the title, but they would still be recognized by Google search algo. Although, so yeah, we would want an indication in the future, although I can't promise that. I'm not sure if that will actually be there immediately anyway.
I put it down as a nice to have, and we can take it back to Dev. It's not a heavy lift.
Great. Daphne is asking, is there a way to access students' passwords without having to reset it if they forget it? If I want to print their passwords after printing, laminating, and distributing it resets every password, preferring a user-friendly system to manage passwords. Kyle,
Yeah,
looks like you.
unfortunately, in order to be very secure, protect those accounts, if you go and access that, or especially printing it, creates a paper trail that is then like, well, any previous access really just needs to be paper shredded, forgotten. That's really what's happening, is it's closing the door behind you so that if you ever go and touch the student account, you're definitely the only one who knows that new information, so that there isn't anything left. So unfortunately, as I understand it, is kind of cumbersome, but it will protect their accounts very well. And yeah, I know it's a tough answer. I have to give that, but that's currently how Boom works to make student accounts very secure. Is it just makes
It
you
it's really
be,
tied to the student security.
yes,
That's the reason for it.
yep.
Um, I would love if it was that way too, because I was doing a demo and forgot my student password and had to reset it. So it's just purely for student security.
If you may recall, the very second email you received from us when signing up said privacy matters. This is a very important issue for us, for you, for your school, and especially for your students. Moving along, Lisa is asking, are you able to confirm for publishers that if we send buyers to the Boom help desk, they will receive a timely response and the help that they are seeking?
So, hi, Lisa. We have an internal commitment that it doesn't matter if you're a publisher, a student, a parent, a teacher, we try and do at least a 24-hour business turnaround. So if someone pings us on a Tuesday, they should hear back some answer by Wednesday. Obviously, holidays and weekends get in the way. Um, that is one of the biggest things that I'm pushing with the company is our customer service and providing top-notch customer service. People, especially in classrooms, because I've been in classrooms, we don't have time to play phone tag or email tag, so that window is very tight. So if you're not getting the level of customer service that you're expecting, reach out to Heather, reach out to me, and please let us know so we can address it within the company.
Trish is asking, besides Facebook, how can we find out about feature deck and sellers?
Yes, we are trying to send that out more regularly in email to make sure that you can enter for that, whether it's monthly, whether it's quarterly, whatever you want to do. I have the record. So if you've submitted once, I do have the record of it. So I wouldn't say put the same deck in anytime that you submit. Try to get new decks or seasonal decks or whatever we're looking for that month. But we'll be sending that more often in email as well because we realize not everybody is on Facebook.
Okay, Anonymous is asking, is safety for publishers on Boom's radar? Always. It would be great to have two-factor authentication for publishers. I'm not interested in getting hacked. That's a nice to have. I think, John, we should most definitely talk with our dev team about that.
You could put an MFA for the publishers logins. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
opposed to it.
Yeah,
Now, the only problem is if we put an MFA, that means that you're going to have to go through that same process, like, oh, send a code to my phone or to my email to get into your account on a regular basis. We were just complaining in our company, we have multi-factor authentications. Every morning we're MFAing to get into our systems. We complain about it because we miss the days of just logging in, but student safety and our data is important. So if that's something, and Heather, you may want to have some independent conversations with people. If an MFA for the publishers is something that you all want, we would be more than happy to look at putting into the system. They're not hard to install.
Okay, Elise is asking how many districts has Boom signed on to the Premier program now?
Not enough. We have a few large districts, and by large districts, I'm talking 500 to 700 plus licenses within the district. We're getting good penetration into Florida and the metro Atlanta area. We do have a big district. We have the Special School District of St. Louis that has hundreds of licenses with us. Our focus right now is Texas, Ohio, as I said, the Southeast, and then California, because that's where the vast majority of student population is working. And we're not focusing on the big, huge school districts right now. By that, I mean LAUSD, New York Public, Houston ISD. Those are multi-year contracts. It usually takes 12 to 18 months to get into the big districts. We're focusing on the districts that are probably the next step down in getting awareness of Boom Passport. If any of you have been following our marketing emails, we've been sending out very targeted, focused marketing emails to large school districts. We do have great hopes and really expanding now that we're in the budget season right now for schools to buy, that we'll see a really good lift in the 2025-26 school year coming up this fall. And adding to that, Lee, I'm going to tag on. I saw someone else had a question. Oh, Lisa did about the dashboard. Lisa is 100% right. When I started with Boom more than 18 months ago, um, the seller dashboard was, hey, we need to work on the seller dashboard. We have not delivered on that. That is totally our fault. Um, I won't take blame for it, but I will say that it is something that is a huge focus right now. The first half of this year, our development team was focusing on implementing Meteor 3, which is our what we write on to build the system. Now that that implementation is done, I believe it was 2 days ago, Heather and I had some meetings with um, the, Mary and Eric, the owners of the company. Seller dashboard was brought up. That's why the seller dashboard survey went out earlier, because I knew we were going to have time to focus on it. We want to give you guys a lot more transparency into how your decks are selling, what are the hot decks that are selling, for a couple of reasons. One, you need the transparency to run your business, to realize what decks are great and what decks are not that great. And we want to have that data to provide to people to say, hey, we're looking for, more extension materials for middle school students or high school students, the ELA kids, science kids, whatever we need backfilled for curriculum. So that seller dashboard is taking a front seat right now, and we are working on it, and putting development and resources to it as we speak. That is a promise. Heather and I spoke earlier today. I would love to give you a month that we're going to roll something out and say, hey, it's coming this August. I'm not going to. What I will promise you is, as soon as we have a commitment from Dev and some specs of what they're going to roll out, we'll put a date out to the publishers going, these are the 5 things you'll see as updates to the seller dashboard, because it is super important for you and for us as well.
Yeah, and to that point, I do want to make sure that what we are pushing out is something that is usable for you guys. It is friendly. So I do want to see some of the inside of it before we just push out and then see there's a bunch of flaws. So just be patient. Again, I know it's been a long time coming. Again, I was on that side of it too, and understand that this is something that's been requested a lot and asked for. So again, we want to make sure that it is something that is meaningful for you as well.
And just to add on to that, Heather, one thing I just want to make everyone realize, um, we keep coming up with other things that start taking precedent over the seller dashboard. We ran into accessibility. We had to get our content more accessible and our site more accessible. We ran into standards where we really had to get standards aligned so districts wouldn't turn us away because we weren't aligned. There were other projects that just pushed the seller dashboard backwards. That being said, it's still not a good reason not to get it done. So it is now that we have accessibility under control and standards under control, and we have our baseline code being fixed. Now we can get back to doing the work we needed to do a year ago, which was the seller dashboard and some other tools.
Great. An easy yes or no question. Do you have to apply to be a premier publisher each year?
No, you do not. But if you're, for some reason, not wanting to be in the program anymore after the year, please reach out. There's not currently a form or anything, but please reach out to us and we can make sure that we can get that straightened away for you.
Okay. A reminder, if you could please put your questions in the Q&A rather than the chat. We will try to get back to some of the chat questions as well. We've got a lot more left. Is there a way to see, Andrea asks, which decks get access the most with Passport, even if it's just, even if it's not numbers, maybe the top 10?
Yes.
Preferably your own decks, not other
Yeah,
publishers.
your deck. So the new dashboard features that we're specking out right now will have the ability to see what decks of yours are being used the most, and you can assume those are going to be within the Passport family if you're seeing a lot of usage.
Great. Suzanne asks, I've been using boom cards for over 7 years. My question is, are there going to be more French cards in all subjects? We're a French-speaking school. The majority of our students are FSL in Ontario, Canada.
Suzanne, the publisher group is live right now. Publishers, we need more French decks for the French Canadian people. The best thing to do is query people and see. I barely have mastered English, you guys. I took German in high school. So if people know French and want to build decks for French, the Quebec area after the US is our largest purchaser of boom decks in the world, just to give you guys an idea of how much we love the French Canadian. So if people want to build decks for that market, that's a strong market. If you speak French, have fun.
May we? Um, any preview of future plans for Boom Printable? That's from Marcia.
Kyle, you want to tackle that one?
I don't think so. Um, I wish I maybe had better context that printables and Boom are still about the same. It's you can upload PDFs and spreadsheets and other. Um, I think there's a couple other file types, but we don't really have any plans to add more kinds of file types unless I thought of maybe like a closed captioning file or some other kinds of screen access tools that might exist later. But that's a good question. They get overlooked. But that's about all I can say about the future of printies.
If I could just add, if you're on Google Chrome, you might want to poke around in the Chrome extension store. There are apps or extensions for printing web pages a little more attractively. So that might be a solution to this issue. Jan is asking, are you aware that not all of the standards are listed under the third, fourth, or fifth grade informational text standards?
We are not. We'll look into that, Jan. I'll have to have Dev look at that. It might have been an upload issue, or whatever file format they use, but we'll have to look into that. Heather, can you make a note on that and push that to Brian? Thanks.
Anonymous question, how can I determine the best strategies or algorithm for selling boom card decks effectively?
Um,
I'll let Genevieve take that one.
All right, thanks. we, really emphasize that we want you to optimize your listing. You don't keyword stuff, but use keywords in your titles, in your descriptions, in your covers. Make sure your covers clearly display what it's about. Your bio, make sure your bio says your credentials and, any specialties that you have. If you also are on Pinterest, we will repin your stuff. And Instagram, we have Tori. She's really great at sharing traffic. So just really making sure that you're optimizing your decks, your bundles, and your site.
Genevieve, can I add to that real quick? I think getting your boom cards to be sold more effectively is really a marketing that you all can look at as how can I best market the content that I've built. Getting involved with us to get listed as a premier publisher, to work with Tori, Tori Grant, who is our social media person. I don't know if any of you are on TikTok or follow Instagram. She does a phenomenal job at putting stuff out there. Um, you are your best marketeer. The other marketing options that you have is that if we're at a major conference we just did CEC in Baltimore a few weeks ago. I invited anyone that wanted to come into the booth to show off their wares. We do it at ASHA every year. So if there's ever a marketing opportunity that you want to run across and work with us on it for you, we'd be happy to.
Great. Trish is asking, when asking if we can use presentation mode for our self-published decks, if the decks are also sold, is there still a way to use presentation mode, or do they have to be quote unquote private?
You just do both. You can list it publicly and also have a privately published copy to yourself. When you see private publish in your studio, that really just means give yourself a copy of your own deck. And then you can use what you're making in your own practice as well as have it being sold. So I think that answers the question.
Great. Anonymous, how can you reset a deck that has been saved and quit to again play from the beginning?
Oh boy. There are a few steps in the library. Oh no, they're in the classroom with the students themselves in the classroom where I would have to maybe share my screen, but there's a series where you select the classroom and then you choose the assignments tab in the middle. Assign more decks as a button that you click, and then you have to click reset all assignments. So I know that's just a bewildering series, but that's basically what you would do to cause all of the students in that classroom to forget any current session they have. So say a student played half of a deck and then hit save and quit. They have some work that they haven't done all the way. That series of steps. There's probably a guide from our help site, which I can get, and it would show you the steps as images. And I'll include that in the chat or in a reply to that Q&A.
Great. Thanks, Kyle. Are there any standards for SEL such as CASEL or ASCA? That's from Leslie.
Heather, besides the ELA standards that you could kind of shoehorn into that, um, I'm really not sure of any other. There are no specific standards for SEL. There are some loosely tied to some ELA standards that you could probably shoehorn in there. Um, that would probably be the best way to go.
Okay, Anonymous is asking, last month our premium seller payment came a couple of days after our regular boom payment. Are they going to be split up like that from now on?
I do not believe so. I
That was a temporary thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a tax jar issue that we had or something like that, but no, they should not be split up. Because something weird, like, I think we have until the 15th to send payments, but whatever happened this month, something happened with tax jar and two payments went out for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, there was something internal on our end. I know some
PayPal
people had
fee.
to endure some extra PayPal fees. So, we do apologize for that. We know that is not easy, especially for anybody outside of the US. So we do sincerely apologize for that. That is not something that we anticipate will happen again.
Yes, and another anonymous attendee didn't have a question, but just commented that that cost them a little bit extra. So we're working to make sure that doesn't happen again. Another anonymous, can you make changes to decks once published and sold? I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. You own those decks. You can go in there and modify your decks whenever you want. So I've seen a lot of really great decks that people have, and having them just add one or two different cards within that deck to either help with differentiation or accessibility, and then just republishing it it's a great way to kind of refresh some of your content.
10-minute warning. So if we have any other questions, please get them in the Q&A section so that we can make sure to get those answered as quickly as possible.
Yes, and we have a lot left, so apologies. We may not be able to get to all of them today, but we will jot them down, make sure we get answers out to everybody at some point. Ellie, the box for accessibility text is close to the bottom of the list of properties. Can it be moved up? I need to scroll down every slide for every deck. So that's a bit of a user experience thing. Maybe we
Yeah,
should,
well, that's a UI UX thing. We'll bring that up with Dev
yeah.
for a layout.
Cindy, for those of us who haven't created new decks in a couple of years, is there somewhere to look that lists the changes that have occurred in that time?
So Cindy, I would recommend attending all of the accessibility webinars that Heather has scheduled, as well as getting the FAQs. If you haven't created a deck in a few years, there's a ton of stuff that's changed. So it's really going to be a new learning process of getting caught up with everything that we've done.
Okay, Dana has a follow-up to the question she had earlier about standards. She wasn't sure that her question was understood. As a specialist, uh, publishing a deck that may address a standard area but useful for several grade levels, will there be an option such as selecting speaking and listening rather than going to specific grade levels? For example, selecting SL 2.0 rather than 2.2, 3.2, 4.2, etc.
Yeah, I think right now there's limitations with the number of decks that you can, or number of standards that you can tag. We have 5, and some of those underneath ones would be multiple. But that is something I definitely can write down, and bring back to our development team that they can click the overall standard, not all of the standards underneath. So I hear that.
And we are for future knowledge. This is our first foray with standards. We will in the future, I'm giving no date, no promises, be able to apply standards at the card level as well. So not only at the deck level, but then if there's a specific standard you're working on, a specific card or series of cards, you'll be able to apply it down the road. That is a down the road thing that we'll have. So we can go deeper with standards.
Okay, Michelle is asking, when using accessibility, unfortunately, it gives the answer away for some decks, taking away from the self-grading feature. Are we aware of this issue?
Yeah, that's part of the problem with accessibility. Um, getting around that just takes a lot of universal design when you're building your decks to make sure if you don't want to give the answer away, for example, visual, if it's a student with visual deficits, not giving them the answer with cue, but working around that answer with the visual cue is how you'll have to tackle that.
Great. An anonymous attendee is saying a live chat AI chatbot would be nice for improved customer service. We
Go
are,
ahead, take that lead.
yes, We are, in fact, migrating some of our systems. You might have seen email about this within the past month, and our new customer service system should allow for that functionality. Um, you mentioned an improved dashboard, any timeline or what it will entail. We are making it a primary focus of our dev team right now. I don't know that we have a real time for rollout, but it is being specced out in detail as we speak.
And it
So,
won't come out as a complete refresh. We'll roll out features as we develop them, just so we can start getting deliverables into that. And then we'll do a bigger UI, UX and refresh the whole thing, probably in 26.
okay. Dana, it would be nice to have the capability to communicate with buyers regarding their feedback rather than just one comment or question. What about an option for buyers to allow sharing their email if they choose with the publisher? Do we have an answer there? Is that a
I'm just thinking on that one.
Yeah, same.
What about
This
an
comes
option
up
for
all the time
buyers
too.
sharing their email if they choose with the publisher? I guess if this is something we could take up with legal, if a buyer wanted to opt in and share their email with the publisher for communication, I can bring it up with Mary and legal and see where it goes.
great?
I'll bring that. Dana, I'll bring that up. Thank you for that one.
Okay, I'm just going to take a couple more questions. We are, in fact, running out of time. We're sorry. You've all been very active in the Q&A. Um, uh, Cindy,
We will respond back to you guys. We'll take these questions and make sure that we put them out in the email just so we're answering them to make sure that everyone gets addressed if we can't get through them all in 4 minutes.
Cindy is asking, given that our sales were highest during COVID, as she imagines, are we able to share a graph showing boom sales throughout the years, John?
Were you able to share a graph showing boom sales throughout the years? I don't know if it'd be throughout the years. We might go backwards in time. COVID, I've told everyone in the industry, COVID was an outlier. We will never, well, knock on wood, we should never see numbers like we did with COVID before because that was, you know, a learning situation that we don't want to get back to. However, I think being able to go backwards in time and look at how Dex uh, provided for you in a 18 to 24-month window would be appropriate. I don't want to make it any deeper than that because then it requires us to maintain data sets way back in time, which is becomes a nightmare for our company to handle.
One last question from Ellie. I might not have the time to add accessibility to some of the existing decks by the deadline. We be able to continue to add accessibility to existing decks after the deadline, and will they be in the catalog? The answer to that is yes.
Yes, absolutely, Ellie. All we're asking is you try and get some of your decks to be accessible. What we're really asking people is if they're building new decks to make those decks accessible and then work backwards in time.
So I think we're going to pause there. Heather, do you have any closing comments?
No, I just wanted to put my email back on the screen. If anybody wanted to write it down or take a screenshot, please reach out with any other questions. Again, if we did not get to your question, we will make sure to answer them as much as we can in an email, whether it's directly to you or in the replay, just to make sure that you get the answer that you're looking for. Of course, reach out. Obviously, if there's any issues or any concerns that you have, please reach out to the help desk. Again, that's just going to be the best place for you to go to get the support that you need. But thank you so much for being here. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. And feel free to reach out with any questions from any of you. We'd love to talk to you all.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
Bye, guys. You too. I can't figure out how to leave.
I know. I'm like, how do I close it for everybody?
There, it's in
Also
the corner.
recording, so I want to stop recording.